All right, everybody. Welcome back to Difficult Conversations by Supply the Y. So we're doing something a little bit different tonight because our guest is none other than pro MMA fighter Don Shainis. How you doing, Don?
Doing great, Dean. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I want to thank you because the reason why we are pre-recording this episode is because Don has a life-changing opportunity that he just couldn't pass up. So Monday is not an option. And he wanted to be in a man of honor like he is. He wanted to keep his commitment to come on the show and talk a little bit about um, perseverance and goal setting with you. He said, you know what, hey, let's get together earlier and let's record it. And I said, that's great. I'll play it on Monday so everybody gets their difficult conversation fix. So we're going to kick off the new year by talking about, like I said, goal setting and perseverance. So Don, tell us a little bit about tell us about the opportunity that popped up that you had?
So I don't want to say too much, but I'm moving. So right now I grew up in Easton. I moved to Plymouth to let my career kind of take off. So what I ended up doing was me being a professional fighter, realizing like I wanted to make the most out of an opportunity. I knew that there was a lot of fights hosted in Plymouth, and I also knew that there was no one from Plymouth fighting in these events. So I'm like, how can I get more of an audience from that own town to get excited about something happening there that they might not even know about? So I moved to Plymouth. I found a bartending job where I worked nights so I could train full time. And so I decided recently, with everything in the pandemic and how the shutdown's going, that I need to leave because there's no fights in Plymouth anymore. Not for the unforeseeable future until things start changing as far as regulation wise. And you know what? I'm not going to fight the government, but I am going to adapt and change because my goals haven't.
That's amazing. So what are your goals for people that don't know you? Obviously, I know you well, and I'll go into how we know each other. But what are some of your goals? Where are you looking to go?
I'm looking to fight in the UFC. I've fought for other international organizations. I've fought for Bellator. I have 9 professional fights. I hold a record of 7-2. I've gotten the call to the UFC. Unfortunately, through this whole pandemic, it was very, very short notice, and I wasn't in a place where I can make weight on quite a few days. But with that being said, I know I'm going to continue to get these opportunities. I have an awesome manager, awesome head coach, and awesome coaching, and I've got a ton of crazy support around me. From the people from my hometown to the places I grew up, the places I've worked, to my new hometown in Plymouth. So I'm taking all that support and I'm going elsewhere.
That's amazing. So
yeah.
What's the nexus between us? Anybody can look and see that there's an significant age difference between the two of us. I'd like to think that I still look youthful, but not so much with all the white hair in my beard. So
hey, I'm catching up, Dean. I'm catching up. I might not have too much white in my beard, but I feel like I still pass for being young.
Well, let me put add a little context to the relationship. So I met you in the summer of 2009 when I first started training in martial arts. I had no background. I'd never really done any significant martial arts training before, and I was at what I would call a traditional like boxing MMA gym called Bishop's. Great owner, a lot of great people. And I'm training on a Saturday morning, and I'd been there for a month, so I think I'm a tough guy now. You know what I mean? I've been there for a month, and I know a thing or two. I have a fact. There's nothing more dangerous than an idiot with a fact, right? Well, I was at one fact.
Plenty of those.
So I felt like I was starting to get somewhere. So I see this young kid walk in, college kid. He's got a college T-shirt on, and he's he's doing all this crazy stuff. He's doing all these push-ups and burpees and all this craziness. And now it's our time to what they call roll, which is essentially that sparring in jiu-jitsu. That's when you actually are practicing some people call it murder yoga, where you're practicing, practicing chokes and joint locks, and all kinds of craziness. So, I lock eyes with this guy and we say, we agree to do a round together, a 3-minute round. And this guy kills me. I mean, I'm tapping out and I'm getting ready to puke, and all in a 3-minute round. Like, you had no idea how long a 3-minute round can last when you're with somebody that you are completely outclassed by. And that person was Don. And
Amen.
it was so bad that I went home and told my then girlfriend, now wife, that, hey, I don't think I'm cut out for this. I'm gonna quit. I mean, this guy killed me and really like ruined my self-esteem. And my wife's like, well, why don't you think about it? And and maybe you should go back. You don't want to end like that. And sure enough, she was right. But what you really did for me was you gave me an opportunity to be on the wrong end of a physical confrontation without being in any real danger. And I grew to really appreciate that, because now when I teach defensive tactics and things like that to police officers, I talk about that day and how important that day is. Because the first time you lose a fight or you're on the wrong end of a physical confrontation, you don't want it to be the real thing. So that's what Don did for me back in 2009. So thank you, Don. I like to think that
my pleasure.
That you and
my pleasure, Dean.
You saved my life and you've helped me make it home safe after my shifts because of the hard times you gave me in those circumstances.
What I see a lot is, a lot of people in that situation, and for everyone that doesn't can't tell on camera, Dean's what, 6 foot, 200. Dean, what do you weigh? 250. Mm-hmm. I'm 5'6". At the time, I was like maybe a $185. Right now, I walk around to like 170. So there's a substantial size difference there, and it's a very humbling experience. And
I was 280 back then. I was heavier then.
Yeah, so the gap's even bigger, but the weight's really irrelevant. You could just generally tell there's a huge size. Can't really do that on camera, but what happened right there, Dean, was what we were kind of talking about earlier before we went on camera. Like, you had to look yourself in the mirror and make a decision, and that's exactly the predicaments you end up finding yourself in while you're dream chasing. You know what I mean?
So I'm glad you went down that road.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to ask you. So, I got to tell the people out there a little bit about you. So, Don, your record is what? 7-2 professional?
Yeah, 7-2 as a pro.
So you're 7-2 as a pro, but something happened. Something like catastrophic happened a little while back. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, a quick little rundown. My career has had roller coasters. I'll give you the spark notes. Undefeated amateur, dealing with the struggles of college, my parents not understanding what I wanted to do, not completely supporting it at first, to being undefeated, being an amateur champion, to building all this momentum to make a professional debut. I lose the pro debut because of something out of my control. I get cut. The doctor stops it. The cut was right on my eye. So they're like, you could go blind, da, 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 da. All right, I get it. That was 17 seconds. I was being fine. Had to look myself in the mirror there. But that's not what you're talking about, Dean. So then I come back, and I have 3 fights. I win all 3 of them. 1 by knockout, 1 by decision, 1 by submission. All right, so now I'm 3-1, and I have this really big false sense of confidence. And I take a fight outside my weight class on short notice, and I thought I was going to walk through this guy. And I didn't know how injured I was going into the fight. I fought 15 minutes, and I broke my neck. And I lost that fight 29-28. But in doing so, you eat that humble pie, and you look back in that mirror, and, you got to decide, like.
Wait a minute. You can't just gloss over, I broke my neck, and then just keep moving.
Yeah. Okay,
so you broke your neck in the fight.
Yeah. Okay, so this was a trip. This was like such a surreal experience. So I've never been in more pain in my life, but my poker face is my poker face, right? So I'm going into the fight kind of injured. I've been having my neck's been sore. I was seeing the chiropractor like 2 times a week for the 3 weeks going into it. And like the training going into that fight was more about making weight and like just showing up, because there was a weight class above, so I didn't have to kill myself. So I could kind of tone down training to a place where I could move at like 40-50%, but still make weight and perform good. But when the very initial beginning of the fight, I redlined my body. Okay. And I'm not fighting a.
What does red line mean to those who aren't familiar?
Red line means like, okay, so like if you're an airplane, right? You can only do so many G forces worth of maneuvers before the person passes out. I'm flirting with that line of maxing out my body to my physical potential, right? So in a fight, it's very much do or die. That's the way I look at it. Like, it's going to sound a little messed up me saying this, but it's very much I'm trying to kill you before you kill me. And by kill you, I'm dead serious. I'm trying to kill you. And there's someone there to stop it. I'm not a bad person. You're not a bad person. We got some business to take care of. It's not even anything personal, but I have bad intentions and I'm trying to shave years off your life. That's the mindset I take into it. Okay. And,
So when you broke it,
yeah. So the very beginning of the fight, I start off hot. I make a mistake. I would pursue. I'm in a bad position, but now I'm in pain. He has my back. I'm fighting off chokes. And, you know, it like the first round ends and I get up after sinking in a rear naked excuse me, not a rear naked choke, a guillotine that's in deep, and I just can't get my arm over where it's supposed to. So he's saved by the bell initially in the first round, but I'm in pain. And it felt like someone took a knife and stabbed me in the back, like right here on my shoulder blade. And like from the top of my head all the way down to the middle of my back, just felt like a line coming across. And then from this point where I felt like I got stabbed, it would run around right into my shoulder, down into my tricep, and into my fingertips. Like right now, this feels different in each hand. Like my fingertips and the nerves still feel different. So what ended up happening was I shattered my vertebrae, C7, which ruptured my disc in between C7 and C6. So I ruptured my disc, which pinched a nerve. So I I had to make a decision right then and there at the end of the first round if I was going to tell my coach or not. Because if I tell my coach he has my best interest in heart, and he's going to make that decision for me. I didn't give him the option. I didn't tell him I was hurt.
so
I
you
couldn't
fought,
move my.
continued to fight, is what you're telling
Yes,
me.
I made it up in my mind that I'm not saying a word to anyone about this, and I'm just gonna go out of my shield, and I'm gonna literally do or die. And because if I tell my coach, hey, I can't move my arm, I don't know what's going on because I've lost the ability to move my arm, So I'm like trying to throw punches with it, but it's really just me like limp arming it, like me turning my body like a wood, but my arm just kind of flopping. There's no snap to it. It wasn't pretty. It was super painful.
So
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 the second round, believe it or not, I actually win.
how did the fight turn out? I'm
What was
sorry, I
that?
missed it. You froze for a little bit.
So I lost the fight 29-28.
That's a
I
close
won
decision.
one of the rounds, and it was
Yep.
super back and forth battle. It was an absolute back and forth battle. And it's actually like the most proud moment of my career as far as like stopping and not listening. Like that internal voice in my head, I was just shut up. Don't be a bitch. Shut up. Keep going. Push through this. You're not a quitter because for me, a big part of what I do is I take everyone's energy, right? I invite every single person I know. I get them excited. I get them emotionally invested. And I'm harnessing that energy as I make my walk out into the cage. As the door shuts, I'm scared, but it is what it is. I'm going to feel the way I feel. I'm just going to fight. And, but that energy, that atmosphere, able to create one person knew I was hurt. You could tell by the way my body was reacting because you stop the ability to move your arm and you're still trying to move it. Your body's just not responding. It's nothing you can do. But it was a super back and forth battle. I lost the fight 29-28 outside my weight class on a short notice fight. And I remember after the fight, I'm in so much pain. And I'm standing there and I knew I lost the fight and they raise his hand. I walk off into the back room. I collapse on the floor and I just start screaming. Dean, I can't even describe to you how much pain this was. This was unbearable pain. They drive me to the hospital. Like I'm on the ground, like not convulsing, but like I don't even know the term for it. Where I'm in so much pain, my legs are like I'm not in control of my legs. I'm like rolling on the ground because I'm in so much damn pain that I can't handle it. I'm screaming and Dean, I've been hurt a lot. We've trained together a lot. How many times you heard me scream like
Never.
a child?
Never.
Exactly.
So
So
what did the doctor tell you?
so It took a little bit for me to actually get a doctor's appointment. I went to the hospital, boom, drugs immediately, like instant drugs. Okay, I didn't want to pay for an ambulance, so I had my dad drive me to the hospital. But that was like an hour-long process just getting to the car because I was in so much pain. Drives me to the hospital. They want to take me to Plymouth Hospital. My dad takes me to Boston, and boom, drugs. The next 4 days, I don't get off my couch. I'm in the fetal position on my couch, on my side, just high off these drugs that they gave me that numb the pain that like I was looking forward to falling asleep because I wasn't in pain when I was asleep.
So you still don't know you have a broken neck, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to the point where they tell you find out you got a broken neck.
I'm angry. And the reason is I don't know if I can fight again. I'm like, have you ever seen what's that, Friday Night Lights, where Booby Miles hurts himself and he's like, what you mean I can't play? You know what I mean? Like, and all he wants to do is play and they won't let him. And that's exactly the same scenario. Like, I'm yelling at the doctor because I'm like, what's this mean? Da 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 da. Like, this is this. And they're like, look, we want to get you a second opinion, but you'll never fight again. And I'm like,
so they told you you'd never fight again.
yeah.
So then so I'm going to go to, you had surgeries because I remember this. You told me
I had surgery a month later. I was working with a broken neck. Like, I was at the bar working, bartending for a month with a broken neck. So then,
what was the recovery like?
A lot of PT. So I have surgery. Good news is
I think we lost you there. You froze up a little bit.
it was worse than what they thought. You there, Dean? You there?
I'm there. I lost you. So you said the good news was, so you froze up, and what was the good news about the surgery?
Good news is I had one of the best doctors in the world for neck surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to have surgery, and through PT recovery and a lot of time, I was able to fight again. So I remember having
what does that mean? Like a lot of time, a month, a week?
So I was not cleared for exercise for like 3 months, I think. I wasn't cleared for contact for 6 months, and I wasn't cleared to fight for 1 week shy of a year. So let me explain this to you, right? So I have surgery, and a lot of people forget this, or if I haven't seen a lot of people during this time period, they forget this. What happened was they opened me up in the front, they removed my disc and all the bone fragments that shattered, removed that, put in a graft, fused it together. All right, so they put a plate there to keep the two discs together. Not
Up, you froze again when you're talking about the disc.
Vertebrae together.
Mm-hmm.
So can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, so the second I get cleared to exercise, my sister was supposed to run a half marathon and she kind of like bailed on it. So like just to prove a point to her, I gained 40 pounds just not being able to exercise for 3 months. I gained 40 pounds. So I went from like 155 to 190. Okay. I gained 40 pounds. The day I get cleared, I run a half marathon just to throw it in her face. Right. I'm like, you should have ran that marathon. I did it. No training at all. Just got up, ran a half marathon on my own. Just mind over matter. It was miserable. It took me like 2 hours and like 7 minutes, which in shape I could blow by. I could blow by that 2 mile mark, or 2 hour mark. But just to prove it to my sister and like make a point, she was super mad at me. But you know what? She's been banging out marathons, full marathons, and like PRing every time she does it. So that one specific time, like she's kind of pissed, but I did it to prove a point.
So Don, because let me get down to it now, because what I think people really can benefit from this on is talk about your goal setting process. Like, how did you stay motivated? Mm-hmm. How did you figure out, like, I want to get out fighting, and what was your process to get back?
Okay, so my process was I told myself that I wasn't gonna let this be my last fight, and in doing so, I might have been the only one that believed it. Dean, I don't know if you remember this, but I sounded like this. I had surgery. I sounded like
Remember
Mickey
your voice.
Mouse for over a year, and
Yep.
I had to own it. There's no way around it. I sounded like Mickey Mouse. I wheezed. I did all these things, but I refused to believe that I was done. And I was lying in the hospital bed the the following day from surgery, and my coach is like, "All right," and he's been super supportive. He even went to the follow-up doctor's appointments, like to ask my surgeon if I could fight again. I go, Eric, I'm not done. I'm not done. I will fight in the UFC. I'm not done. And I've been so stubborn. And my doctor recommended that I don't fight again. He said I could, but he recommended that I never do it again. There's a higher risk of injury. I refuse to believe that there's anything that can stop me from accomplishing what I want to accomplish. And if you have that mindset, you cannot fail. There is no failure.
So I got to ask you, hearing this story and the time of year this is, I mean, it's just after New Year's.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to the casual workout person or the casual person that has fitness goals that wants to lose a couple pounds but quits after a week or two?
Well, it depends on their motivation. You know what I mean? How bad do you really want to achieve what your goals are? Now, if your goals are to lose 10 pounds, that's easy. You want to lose 10 pounds, you could do that in 2 weeks. But you want to keep that 10 pounds off. It's more about creating a lifestyle where you're happy with yourself and constantly fulfilling your soul. Because let's say you lose that 10 pounds and you're miserable the whole time and you just want to eat cheeseburgers and go out and drink. Like you have to draw a line of what's more important. You know what I mean? Your goals or celebrating. What are you willing to sacrifice to achieve what you want to achieve? Like everyone uses New Year's resolutions to lose weight, to stop drinking, to quit smoking. Give that 2 weeks. Let's see who's looking back at you in the mirror. The mirror doesn't lie, Dean. The mirror does not lie when you're looking at your reflection.
Well, that's why I kind of got a hate thing going on with mirrors. So I hear what you're saying on that. So go on.
Yes.
No, go on. Keep going.
So when it comes to achieving your goals, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as you believe it, and you don't need to convince anyone. You know how many people I proved wrong by just becoming a professional athlete? You know, like like Dean. Remember 10 years ago when I said, "Hey, I want to be a professional athlete."
I remember that.
I told you, having no fights, I want to be a professional athlete. You're like, "All right, kid." like.
I remember being like, everybody says that. Like everybody who comes through the doors of this gym says they want to fight in the UFC and they want to do this and that and the other thing, and that's common to hear people say that.
Yeah, well, I haven't finished reaching my goals yet, so I can't stop now, and I refuse to. Even if that means I need to move to a different state to train with guys in a more open state where they're where there's less restrictions and there's more opportunities. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm about to drop everything in my life, Dean, right now to make a move to where I can train full time like I was pre-pandemic.
And when you full time, like, give me an idea, like, how many hours a week are you in there?
Okay, so me training full time, out of camp twice a day, pretty much every day. You might take a rest day if you're broken. You might want to rest for 2 days, but even on a rest day, you're still getting a cardio workout in. You're still doing a light session. So I'm working out a morning session and a night session. Sometimes I might sneak in a third session in there. I remember like when I'm in fight camp, I do 3 sessions. I do a morning session, a strength and conditioning session, then a night session, then I go to work on Tuesdays, Thursdays. So me finding that bartending gig down in Plymouth, I met so many cool people, so many supportive people, but it really worked out perfectly for my schedule because when everyone else is working that 9 to 5, guess what I'm doing? I'm grinding.
How many hours in here?
It depends. A session could be an hour. It could be 40 minutes. There's sometimes like especially during this pandemic, what I've noticed is like I drive an hour through traffic or an hour and a half to traffic to get like a 45-minute session, like wanting to train more. And the guys like aren't like in shape, to drive another hour and a half back. So I'm like driving 3 hours to get a 45-minute session just because there's people there, and that's it. Not at all gyms. And there's a lot of different motivations and like 45 minutes for me. All right, I just started, like, I finally feel loose. I feel warm. I feel ready. I'm good to go. But 45 minutes for a normal person doing what I'm doing, like, they're like, all right, like, I'm spent. I'm exhausted. Dude, I did good today. You know what I mean? So it's like that 45-minute window where it's like, all right, now I feel like I can fire. My body's working the way it wants, and all these little movements and thoughts, and my flow state is finally at that point. But it's funny because like there's other days where it's like all I do is train. So it's one of those things where you have to balance in a proper sleep schedule, and I end up sleeping in, and so it's like a normal training session. You're
What's your
looking at it.
so as far as that, so what is your message as far as setting short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals? Like, how would you, just really quickly, just kind of sum up what your thought process is and your message to people that want to set those goals.
Okay, so like for me, what I like to do, or what I've done was I said to myself, or I'll look myself in the mirror. I'll constantly tell myself I'm going to do this. I remember when I was in high school, I saw as a freshman the captains for football, right? And I'm like, I want that. So I became the hardest worker. I wasn't the most athletic, but I became the hardest worker there. And hard work triumphs all. Every day, every day, every day. Just showed up every day, little by little, step by step, inch by inch, brick by brick, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Whatever metaphor you want to use, I outgrinded everyone until I was football captain. I accidentally became a wrestling captain. I thought I was going to play football in college. I ended up playing a year, but like I was way better at wrestling than I was at football, So fighting just came naturally to me. And like, and then through that, it's like learning how to box, super unnatural. Learn how to grapple versus jujitsu. So all these unnatural things, like it just kept evolving and not giving up and just keep grinding and grinding and grinding. Yes, you have that long-term goal. My long-term goal ever since I started watching the UFC, wrestling in my basement, getting rug burn from the rug in my parents' basement, putting butts through walls on accident, just trying to take someone down. Like from there to finding a gym, to learning how to punch someone, to all right, shit, I can take someone down and I can punch them. How do I kick? How not to get kicked? How to do things right? How to have enough wind to do it? And oh wait, there's diet involved. This is way more time consuming. Oh, time out. Wait, I'm not getting paid. How do I get paid while doing all the things I need to do to stay on top of it? It's a constant grind.
So what would you in like 50 words, what would you tell somebody that's looking to set goals?
I'll sum it up in 3. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself because no one else will. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. If you truly believe in you, you wouldn't believe the support you get. Believe in yourself. That's it. Just believe in yourself. Because you don't need to convince anyone. You can prove people wrong. But if you believe in yourself, that energy is contagious. If you don't accept no for an answer, I'm not someone to accept no for an answer. I don't care what it is. If I want something, like Dean, hear me out on this. This just this concept, right? There's nothing you can't learn, right?
We got about 30 seconds. This has been 29 minutes already.
Oh, wow. I could keep going, man. Hey, look, there's nothing you can't learn. If you want to be an astronaut, I'd be amongst the stars. It doesn't matter what you want. Just go out and do it.
That's awesome. Don, really quick, thank you so much for taking time to do this when you got this big move ahead of you, like literally you're going to be moving all weekend.
I moved everything out of my apartment today, yeah.
How can people follow you? Where can people find you on social media?
Social media, Instagram and Facebook are my 2 big platforms. I'm not so much on Twitter, but my nickname's Shameless. I tend to do things a little weird and rowdy. So shameless_Don on Instagram and shameless Don Shainis on Facebook. Thank you so much, Dean.
Hey,
I'm so happy to be a part of this.
Well, I love you, and I think the world of you, and I know that you are so close, and I know that this move is going to work out great for you. And as I'm going to miss seeing you around and have you around, but I know that it's going to work out great for you, man.
Hey, Dean, I'm going out there with an idea and a semi-plan, and I'm going to figure it out the way. Just going to figure it out.
Well, I'm proud of you. And like I said, don't stop. You're so close. You're going to be there. And I can't wait to root you on when I'm watching you on TV.
I appreciate that, Dean. You have no idea.
All right, brother. I'll be in touch. Happy New Year to you. And again, everybody.
Yeah, same to you.
Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube. We're now on LinkedIn. Supply the Why. Also on podcast form in Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So check us out. 2021 is going to be big. Everybody have a great night. # Supply the Why.
Take care, Dean.